Sometimes in long-term recovery and with mental health, at the beginning, it is very easy and it is very exciting. So I'll tell you a little bit about my story. So when I came out of prison, I transitioned into a faith-based transitional home for women called New Beginnings Big Country, and I began to work at Chick-fil-A. And at the beginning, it was exciting. I had some freedom again. I had a job. I was saving up for a car. I made team lead at Chick-fil-A. And after a period of time, the excitement and the newness wears off, like everything new does. I was accomplishing some certain goals, some short-term goals that I wanted to, like accomplishing my classes that were mandated by parole. I got promoted to team lead, which is really exciting. I got a fantastic new color of shirt and had a better fabric. But after a while, just like reality, those things, the newness wears off. And suddenly I was in a position where I did not really see a great future for myself. And even though that I still loved my second family at Chick-fil-A, there was still something within me. I knew that I wanted something better for myself. And so what happened is that I had to re-examine, like in all times during long-term recovery and mental health, is what's going on and what am I going to do? So what I encourage you to do if you're feeling like this, whatever your job is, you can be an executive director of something and feel stagnant and feel like you've plateaued. So what I want you to do is to think about SMART goals. And you may have already heard of them. They're specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time specific. So what that looked like for me after a year of working at Chick-fil-A is that I said, I want to do something more with my education. Well, fortunately for me, Chick-fil-A offered a free program where I could go back to school and study. And I did that for about 6 months because that was my 6-month goal, is to see, is education or furthering it even something that I wanted to do online? Because it has been many years since I had done any kind of schooling again. But after that, because it has to be time specific, I set another goal for myself. So for example, I said by March 13th of 2023, I wanted to receive my peer recovery support specialist. And so there's several steps to that. So I had to look up, what does that even take? What is it about? I had to find a class that I could actually take because I was working overnights. I also had to find funding for that, right? Because everything comes down to the dollar. So once I figured all those things out, I got into my class. I didn't hit that exact specific date, but I did hit the date that was required for when the class was offered. So what that tells you is that sometimes those specific dates can be moved and shifted and altered, but you still understand where you're headed with that. And then after that, I said, okay, well now I have this, but I'm still working at Chick-fil-A, so now what do? Well, my next goal was to figure out where I was going to work. Was there anything in this area that provided a job where I could be a recovery support peer specialist? And it didn't happen at first. So if you start to feel like, well, I did this, I got my education, I got the certification or the specialist training, and now I still can't work, I'm still stuck where I am. Well, I want you to know that being stuck is a mindset, because it is our internal view of the outside world as to what we're going to how we're going to relate to the world. So another thing that I did when I felt that plateau, I still was in the same job. I wanted to move on, even though I was happy. I thought about gratitude. And it reminds me of the Bible verse, Ephesians 5:20, and it says, be thankful to God for all things. And for me, because spiritual and Jesus Christ is one of my primary pathways, that was identifiable for me and it worked. So what I did at this point, to make a long story short, is that I set 3-month goals, 6-month goals, 9 months goals, 12 months, and again at 2 years and 5-year goals. Right now I'm sitting at a 3-year goal. I'm now the Director of Recovery Support Services at a local organization that provides recovery peer support to not only this community and to individuals in the surrounding rural areas, but we're also going back into the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. So as you can see, from a very narrow spectrum and a goal, it became very broad for me. And so when you set those goals, you can actually check them off. And we know that when we accomplish things and we check them off, we actually are giving ourselves a little boost of dopamine. And what does both dopamine do? It makes us feel great. So give yourself a little natural dopamine, set those goals, and get your day off to a great start.